Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of The Children of Cup, a vampire story. Yay! Set in the Dark Ages 20th edition, 20th anniversary edition. Ugh, I'm nervous. I am going to be your storyteller for today, Forgotten Dreams, also known as The Forgotten Dreams. You can find us over on Twitch, YouTube, and Trovo right now. Hello to all the people watching the VOD. And I am joined by a host of lovely, lovely people who have decided to be my test subjects for however long this campaign ends up going. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Two of these faces you will definitely recognize. One of them is brand new. So, starting with who we are familiar with, let's start at the top left with Dorian.
Hi, my name's Dorian. You can also find me under the name Sephoriel, and I'll be playing Ajala, who is going to end up being an Assamite, I believe.
Alright, next up, we have down at the bottom left, Azzy.
Yeah, so, I'm known as Azzy or Aziraphale. I'm also known as Daniel if you meet me in real life, but I normally use Aziraphale even in real life, unless it's work-related. I will be playing Cecilia of Montfort, and as the DM uses us as test subjects, I might use some test subjects because I am playing at Simish.
Fantastic. And last but not least, just below me, over on the right-hand side, is a brand new person to our role-playing scene, at least as far as I'm aware. It's going to be someone you recognize from our co-op campaigns of Three Kingdoms and Warhammer 2. Jay!
Hi, everyone. My nickname usually is Jay Barrero over on Twitch. I'll be playing Serafino, and I'll be from the clan La Sombra.
All right, fantastic. Well, before we actually go ahead and jump into the story, I am going to treat my players and also you, the beautiful viewers, to a bit of an audio file that I set together. Please hold your harsh critiques. It's my first time doing this. But I'm going to go ahead and set that up for us in 1 second. Let me go ahead and let the players be able to talk and deafen myself over on Discord. There we go. And we're going to run over here and run the intro. Sicily, 1105, Venus Castle. The sun hangs low on the horizon as a frail older man with unkempt receding shock-white hair and a long scraggly beard scribbles away on one of many sprawled about pieces of parchment. Two withered candles struggle to light the writing desk as a fire in the hearth warms the room, and a warm, delicious-smelling stew in a large black pot fills the air with the scent of spiced pork. A large, beautifully crafted box inlaid with silver masts and a small latch, covered by a thin layer of fresh dust, sits in the center of the room on an ornate carpet. The door gently opens with a creak to a handsome young man in a black habit who steps in, closing the door behind him. The young man gives a wide smile before saying, "It's time, master." The older man looks up, his left eye clouded by cataract. "So soon? Very well, gather the horses, and be sure to take a bowl of that stew. That girl you like so much went through the trouble of making it." The young man gives a small nod before saying, "The horses are already at the gate." Surprised, the man stands collecting his papers before slipping into his cloak and putting on his sandals. Good. You're a good boy, Sereno." He quickly shuffled toward the door, gathering his things as he went. Sereno glanced down at the box. "Do you want to say goodbye to the children?" The older man turned and looked down at the large box. "You're right. It may be some time before I see them again." He shuffled over to the box and knelt in front of it. "We will see each other again one day, I'm sure of it. You'll be scared, confused, possibly even angry at what I've done. However, I want you to know it was all for a good cause." He stands, straightening out his cloak, before shuffling out of the room. Sereno watched as his master left, before poking his head out of the door and signaling for the guards. 8 of them quickly filed in the room and lifted the box. The scene fades to black. A few days later, we come back into the box sitting in a cart on a dock. Sereno stands next to another young man in a similar black habit, in quiet conversation as dozens of dock workers move about unloading and loading cargo on several ships that dot the docks. Donovan, don't screw this up. Remember, bring the box to the slaughter docks, just outside of Ibelin. There you will find Auguste Martel. Be careful with your word around him. He's a true Cainite, and to be feared. Donovan moved nervously, rubbing his hands together as he spoke. Why not just give them to Solomon of the Hospitallers? He's still in the Holy City, is he not? This is the Master's will. Solomon has obligations and won't be able to meet them until they have awakened. Now do as you've been asked. The two men parted, as a group of dock workers moved over to the cart and began picking up the box. The scene fades to black. The sound of waves crashing against the sides of a ship can be heard along with the crack of thunder and lightning. A loud crunch can be heard as water pours into the cargo compartment before a muffled scream calls out over the sounds of a storm. A louder crack pierces the darkness and the ship goes under. A day later, the sun beats down on an unknown coast as the box sits surrounded by debris and bodies. A bloodied hand clasps onto the box as Donovan slowly pulls himself out of the sand. A large, jagged piece of wood piercing his pelvis drips slowly with fresh blood. Slowly, he walks a circle around the box looking for damage and makes a sigh of relief when he sees none. Leaning against the box, panting in exhaustion, he reaches under his habit and pulls out a soaked brown satchel. His hands shake uncontrollably as he opens the satchel. Several wrapped rations of ruined food and a small leather case sit inside. He pulls out the case and gingerly opens it to reveal 6 glass vials completely shattered and floating in a mixture of dark, viscous blood and salt water. Cursing under his breath, he pulls hard at the jagged wood, giving it a scream of pain as the wood falls to the sand and the large wound rapidly begins to pour blood. Quickly, he brings the leather case to his lips and pours the mixture of glass, blood, and water into his mouth, not having time to pull out the glass and instead struggling to swallow, keeping as much glass as he can from going down his throat. A few moments later, the wound begins to slowly close as the bleeding slows and eventually stops. He spits out a few shards of glass before the scene fades to black once more. A day later, we can see a haggard Donovan digging into the sand with a shovel as the box sits atop a large, warped piece of wood, roughly strapped to a horse. He climbs out of the hole he has dug and struggles to gently slide the box into the shallow hole. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for doing this. I'll be back as soon as I can. There's a loud thud, and the faint sound of chains clanking from inside the box as it reaches the bottom of the hole. I'll make my way to Auguste as fast as I can and bring him back, but for now, I'll leave you here, for safekeeping. The scene fades once more into darkness as he begins to shovel sand over the box to fill the hole. Donovan can be heard struggling to get back on his horse before a muffled shout is heard from the distance. Donovan's muffled voice can faintly be heard. God, no! They've found me already. The muffled sound of him riding off at a full gallop can be heard, shortly followed by several other horses. The camera rises out of the sand and shows 6 men on horseback with torches riding into the night as the words Children of the Cup, a Vampire the Dark Ages story, sprawls across the screen before fading to black, and in bold letters the words 30 years later appear. And this is where our story begins. Okay. All right. Hope you enjoyed my little Audacity project that I put together there.
That was awesome.
Good.
Thank you very much. All right, getting into it. I'm going to turn, let's see here, I'm going to keep that there, and we're going to run over to here. There we go. Everything's set. So, we come in with 3 of you, slowly awaking in pitch black darkness. You can feel something wrapped around your legs. It feels heavy and iron, perhaps chains. You hear 2 others definitely in the box, but you have no way of seeing them. What do you do?
Can I freely move my arms?
You attempt to, and immediately as you go to move your arms, you hit the top of something that feels wooden, but like it's been well sanded down. If you attempt to move your arms to the left or right, you can feel the heat of individuals' bodies next to you, to your left and right.
And I have no memory why I'm here.
Nope.
I think I will scream out, I'm alive, let me out.
Okay. You scream out, and the other two of you hear this scream that echoes within the box very heavily. The sudden sound causes your ears to ring, as she actually has quite a set of vocals on her.
And
Would
just
you-
seems panicked.
Please, not try to. Damn you loud.
Where are we? These things. I try to feel. Can I reach whatever it made the sound next to me? Oh, well.
Yeah, you can reach to either of the individuals if you want to. If you try and reach to the top of the box, you're just feeling like smooth wood anywhere you reach box-wise. And then other than that, it's just the two individuals next to you. You can't actually reach to your legs where you can feel the metal.
Okay. I will. So you're alive too? Where are we?
Of course I'm alive, else I wouldn't be talking, would I?
I just sit quietly and wait for them to chat because I'm an introvert.
That works.
Yeah.
I'm a bookworm. I'm just hearing you and seeing what to do next.
As in, would you
Where are we?
stop squirming? As in, it's kind. I apologise, that wasn't alarm. Sorry. It's rather tight in here. Would you mind not moving around like that? As in, where the hell are we?
She tries to calm down, but I think she more starts sobbing and crying.
You know, actually, how about you make me a perhaps intelligence courage. Difficulty is going to be difficulty 7.
Does this sheet have any auto rolling, or do I just manually?
So if you go onto the sheet and you go to, I think I accidentally closed that character sheet that I was looking at for references. 1 second. If you go over to the dice tab at the top of the sheet, it'll have dice pools and things like that. You can go ahead and add one in to the main dice pools, and you can go ahead and select your attribute and ability, difficulty modifiers, things like that, and then roll.
Yeah, let's see. Courage. I don't find the courage in this list. I will just do manually add my courage in.
Okay.
And then hopefully this goes.
Ooh, 4 successes. So
Oh.
you manage to actually calm yourself more than initially you thought. Initially, you begin to panic a little bit more, but as you think about it more and more, you don't know where you are. You're definitely encased in some kind of wood. There might be limited air in here. You don't know, so you begin to actually start calming yourself.
Can I try and use my strength to break through the wood without telling anyone a word?
Sure, you may absolutely try. For that, I would like you. This is going to be. Let's go for purely a strength athletics roll.
All right, how do I do that? Tell
Okay.
me.
So we want to go to that tab, that dice tab. Let's go to your main dice pools and click on add. Then for your attribute, it should
on
already
the-
start with strength, and then ability.
Let me see. So
Yep.
journal, jukebox. Okay, where is the dice tab?
So it's journal, then click on your character, then character sheet, then dice. There you go.
Okay. Character sheet, dice.
Yep.
There we
Then
go.
main dice pools, then add, And then strength is going to be the attribute, and ability is going to be athletics. The difficulty for this is going to be 8.
So strength. And difficulty is
8.
8. I don't need to put a name, I just need to roll, right?
Yep.
Rolling.
You struggle against the wooden box, but unfortunately there's too little space for you to really get any good leverage. Your arms are too restricted and you aren't able to put your full weight behind the push.
Okay.
Or at least this is what you tell yourself.
Bastard.
Am I aware of how many people we are in here? Around as much as I
You definitely know that where you are positioned, you definitely know that there's a person in the middle, or at least to your left, I should say. And you can faintly hear someone struggling beyond them. However, you're unaware if there's someone beside them or not.
That was probably the thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I am calm now. We need to preserve air. We don't know how long we will be here.
No, we don't. What is... We're in the box.
There's something
Why?
wrapped around my legs. Is that the same for you?
Is there something around my leg?
You can feel heavy metal wrapped around your legs. You're beginning to get the feeling that you're definitely clapped in irons.
Yeah, I don't like this.
There's someone else here as well. Can you speak?
Yes. I am here, just to your right.
Do you know anything why we're here?
No idea. I have some chains around my legs, and I failed to break the box we're in.
Thinking on that question, by the way, what is the last thing I think I remember right now?
All right, for this, you are going to make me a... this is going to be Wits Investigation. The difficulty for this will be 9.
Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, that's probably under knowledge investigation and so with investigation. That's it. Roll difficulty 9. You say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Okay.
No.
So this is what you get. You try and think back to your last memory. You can hear the sound of children. You remember the sound of the waves, and nothing else.
Okay, I realise that's not going to help me. The other guy said he wanted to punch his way out. Can I repeat what he tried?
Absolutely.
Can we try it together to lower the difficulty?
Yes, indeed. I will say that your combined arms, we will lower the difficulty down to 6 for the main roller.
So
Go
would
for
we
it.
like- so you wanted to push out, right? Why don't we do it together? That's your idea. On 3, and who's got more? You don't know.
You don't know. It's darkness. You can't even see the other individual.
Who's going to be the main roller on this? What is the difficulty?
The difficulty, because you are being assisted, whoever's the main roller, it will be 6. So standard difficulty.
I will also help.
Okay.
By the way,
The difficulty, unfortunately, will not go any lower than 6.
that is okay. I just still put my hands up and try to.
Absolutely.
I think you should do it, Sephorial.
Strength athletics?
Yes, strength athletics.
Alright. We don't know of any vampire skills yet, I'm guessing.
Nope.
That's new to us, right? Yeah. So I'm not gonna... There we go.
Can
3 successes.
There is At first, a great struggle between the three of you, but eventually you start feeling something give. It feels as though something is definitely moving upwards, and then there's a loud crack. Past the loud crack, sand starts to pour in through the center of the box, where a large crack has now formed, and it begins to pour rapidly. What do?
Trying not to panic, and we must push harder. We must get out here.
Yeah, we must crack it again.
Go ahead and make me a straight courage roll, all of you.
Okay.
Just courage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 6 as well. That's above that.
Normal difficulty.
Normal difficulty, yes. Okay. Wow.
Oh, I rolled too many dice. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Take the second roll.
Okay, the second.
I'll
Ooh. All right. Cecilia, the sand is pouring directly onto you, so this makes sense. You can feel it begin pouring over you. Some of it's beginning to start going up your nostrils. A little bit of it is getting into your mouth. And you start panicking and writhing about, desperately trying to either get out of the way or stop the gap as best you can. It's not going well for you. So unfortunately, you won't be able to assist.
That is fine.
Yeah. What about the other two of you? What would you like to do? You've maintained your composure. You think to yourself, okay, sand's pouring in. All right, we're buried. We're in a box. We're buried. Sand is pouring in. We have only a limited amount of time. What would the two of you like to do?
I think we need to be quick. We need to break this box and dig ourselves out.
That's what I'm thinking too. Continue breaking open and basically sand swim if that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sand them up. Even though the chains are going to drag us down.
All right. So, prime roller again. Unfortunately, because one of you is panicking, the difficulty will go up to 7.
Oh, for flop's sake.
So it's going to be a roll of what? Courage?
We've already done the courage roll. It's strength athletics one more time.
Okay.
Did you be honest?
Ooh, wow. Okay. Ooh, that's not what I'm meaning to do. Okay. So, Serafino, you try and you try and you try to push as hard as you can, but unfortunately the added weight of the sand pouring in is too much. You're not gonna win this battle, you feel like. And within a few seconds, the box is filled with sand. Only your noses are in the small pocket of air left within. When suddenly, you all feel a weight lifted off. And you can hear the sound of something digging into the sand. Above you. To the right. To the left as well. Several shovels. You don't know how far away they are, though.
We're being digged out.
A moment later, you can hear the sound of a shovel tapping onto wood. There's a call out. What languages do all of you speak? We'll go around, so we'll start with Serafino. What languages do you speak?
Oh, let me see.
Good question. What language have you been speaking?
It will depend on what region you are from and what you have learned through academics.
That is a good one. Even though not all languages are good for that time. Can we just assume the common language is English, as we speak English in Discord? Like, not officially, but...
Weird in this case.
Unfortunately, no. The common language would not be English.
It would be Arabic.
Common language be.
The common language all depends on where your character comes from. So, I believe Serafino is from Iberia.
Yeah.
Is he from Muslim Iberia or Christian Iberia?
Christian.
Okay, so more
speak
than
Latin.
likely you speak
Vulgar
Latin. Yeah, very vulgar Latin.
Vulgar Latin.
It's
Sorry,
crude
that is so
Latin.
funny. That is so. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, because the classic Latin was learned by the ones that studied, and I was a man of the people, so you know the vulgar Latin, the crude one.
Cecilia Montfort, I believe, is a French family.
Yes, so that should be French,
Right.
Latin, and probably at least rudimentary, the language spoken close to Jerusalem. I don't really know which one that would be in this
Okay.
time. Because a lot of travel is happening to that point.
Right. Okay. And then what would Ajala?
That is a good question. I didn't think of looking into that before I did this. As in, I was from. I'm looking back in the Makurian Kingdom.
Oh,
So modern day Sudan.
I don't think they spoke Sudanese back then. I think they spoke a different dialect, but we can say Sudanese because I'm not a huge historian on that area.
He speaks whatever they spoke back in the Makurian kingdoms.
I will say, however, you all notice that you all do understand each other, despite the fact that all three of you are definitely speaking 3 different languages.
Don't we all speak Latin though?
One of you would definitely not speak Latin.
Yeah.
Like, I probably spoke France until you answered in Latin.
And then you
she
would
might start
switch to Latin,
switch.
yeah.
Yeah, because... And then when the other person still understood, but she
You
didn't
still
know
understand
which
him, yes.
Yeah.
So you hear a call out in a language you don't recognize, or, well, no, one of you would recognize as Farsi. It is not the local language of Jerusalem. However, it's a dialect that's not far from Jerusalem at this time period. So you can pick up like a single phrase here or there, like found, keep, and then help are the only words that you're able to pick up.
Is Farsi the language of the Muslims that were in Iberia?
Farsi would be in Iberia, the Moors. No, it would not be.
That would be Arabic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now when the push has been lifted off, can I move so I can clear my mouth?
You can feel yourself having more freedom of movement. You're not totally able to get out yet, but you're able to clear your mouth at the very least.
Yeah, then she will shout help in that language.
Okay.
Farsi. Because she knows that word apparently.
Yes. So you begin screaming help in Farsi. You can hear the sound of at least 4 or 5 individuals yelling out, something help, something help. You're not sure what that something word is, but the digging gets faster until eventually the sand begins to clear and a single beam of sunlight comes down and lands upon Cecilia's head. Now, out of character, many of you would immediately be freaking out that Cecilia is in full sunlight right now. However, what I will say is, Cecilia, as the sunlight hits you, you feel weakened. You feel your energy sapped from you immediately. And every task you take, aside from speaking, takes great effort. In-game terms-wise, all your difficulties now are default 8.
Alright. Well, she's relieved, even if she feels... Well, she probably will think that this is the exertion of finally getting out. Now she feels the stress on her body. As now she's leaving the flight or fight experience of adrenaline.
Right.
How many languages can I speak with my academics at 2?
With your academics at 2, I would say you'd be able to speak your whatever your local dialect of Latin would be, and then you would have a basic knowledge of what would be spoken in the courts, so you would have a very basic knowledge of French.
Okay. Very basic knowledge of French, and I can know Arabic because we're in touch.
I would say
right?
yeah. You're in touch with Arabs constantly in that region, so definitely.
Should I have more languages with 3 academics?
I believe we established that you definitely know French. French is already spoken in the court, so there's no need to have that twice. Latin would be fine. And then Arabic, I'd say, is because that's mostly spoken by the Muslim community here in Jerusalem at the time, where a lot of trading is going on. If you'd like to know one other, you can have a basic knowledge of one other outside of Farsi.
Is there something else that is kind of common?
Something else that's pretty common at this time is Italian, because there are quite a few Italian traders who go about. They don't speak Latin. They just speak like a very basic, a more crude version of Latin that's now being called Italian.
What about the text, though? Wouldn't it be like Hebrew or Sanskrit?
You could learn Hebrew. It's
Well,
not
you can.
widely spread, though, where you're from.
Ah, okay.
But it would be
makes
in
more-
Jerusalem.
Yeah, it's more sense than that they might know very little Hebrew. Maybe can recognize some key phrases, but I maybe talk Italian because it's very close to French and Latin. That
I would
might
say
make
either
sense.
Italian or Venetian. Your choice.
Venetian sounds more fun.
All right.
All right.
Question, by the way, since this coffin has been broken open, this box, and sunlight is streaming in, I'm guessing we can all see that sunlight.
You can. It is illuminating Cecilia, so you can now see Cecilia at this point. Go ahead.
What does that does that feel dangerous? Does that feel scary?
It does
at
not.
all?
It does not.
Okay.
And since you brought up a good point that the other two of you can now, if you move the sand away from your face, would be able to see Cecilia in full view. Cecilia, if you'd like to describe at least what you look like face-wise.
All right. So as you can understand, she's a female, and she looks kinda plain, and she has long dark brown hair. And even in this light that comes down, you can see that her eyes are very light blue.
There you
And
go.
I don't know, she's probably a lot of dirt and stuff, and maybe describe a little more of her later.
Fantastic. You can hear the shovels continue to work away for the next minute, before eventually the sand is cleared and a number of hands, 6 in total, reach in to pull apart the top of the wooden box that you are within. All of you are immediately bathed in full sunlight, so all of you now have that difficulty of 8 base, and you can see a number of very poor-looking individuals who are in a mixture of rags. One of them looks to be in a bit more finer clothes, but not nobility finery, standing above this hole that you were in. And not too far from them, you can hear the sound of a few horses, as well as someone speaking to another individual in Arabic.
She reaches up with her hands, trying to get someone to help her up.
They do not help you up. They just stare.
She says in Farsi, help.
You watch as a few of them look over to each other, and then look back in the direction of the horse that you can hear. In Arabic, you catch the word yes, and then they all turn and they begin helping you all out of the box.
Right.
As you are brought up to stand and lifted out of the hole, you can see that you are surrounded by nothing but desert in all directions. These 6 individuals stand here with shovels next to them. There's another nobly dressed individual with a large black turban and rather noble garments for someone who's accustomed to desert climates. And other than him, there's another person standing next to him, just next to his horse, who is also dressed similarly, but looks like he's of slightly lesser station.
What clothing do I have on me?
That is a good question. What clothing do you think she would have last been wearing on a normal day back at her
Well, on a
homeland?
normal day, she would probably wear still noble clothing, but maybe a little easier to move around in, but still female, and probably coded to the climate she was in.
So that is what you were wearing.
And what climate were I in?
Yeah, I would say the last you remember cold, which is why you're dressed in a bit heavier clothing. So it's suddenly very, very hot. And the furs that you have over your clothing suddenly feel very uncomfortable.
All right.
And what about the rest of you? What are you wearing? What do you look like?
Go for it, Sephoria.
Okay, in that case I'll go first. So I think I will sort of break my way out of what's left of the box and sort of instinctively go looking through the sand if I've left any weapons behind.
Nothing. It was just you, your clothing, and the box, which is now filled with sand. However, while you are digging around in the sand of the box, make me a... This is going to be Wits Investigation.
Wits investigation. Difficulty of 8, I'm guessing.
Yep, difficulty of 8.
One.
1 success. So,
10 currently.
within the box, you find... let's see, 1 success? Yeah, okay. You manage to find a water skin that fills as though it's filled with a very thick liquid, and also what looks to be what was once a book. However, it has rotted away.
Okay. So, as Ajala stands up from the box with this water skin and what looks like to be a book that's falling apart in his hands, he stands up looking like a youth of like African origin, so a black young man. With what's it called again? It's heterochromia, I believe. He's got one blue eye, which is rather unusual, and one brown eye. Cropped short hair. It's got a bit of a soldier's posture, if that makes any sense. Not the
Very
short-
prim and proper standing.
And I do think while he sort of stands up and weighs this water skin in his hands, he'll probably pop off the top and sort of sniff it, see what might be inside.
It smells like rank old blood.
Okay, let's drop that in that case.
Okay. You drop
So
it,
you-
and dark viscous liquid begins to pour out, and the air lightly fills with a sensation of copper.
Oh,
That is disgusting. Why would anyone fill a skin with that?
How does the other person look like?
Serafino.
me.
Yeah.
I don't look very good because my appearance is dreadful. However, I try to hide it with dark clothes, dark hoods, with not a very common amount of pockets in them. because I like to keep my notebooks and my books about me. Can I try and see if I have any book or notebook inside my hood?
Make me a wits investigation.
Okay, so it would be initiative, dexterity, wits, right?
Not initiative, just not initiative, dexterity, wits. It's just going to be wits and then investigation. Completely different thing.
Let me see. Attributes and abilities, right? No, character sheet. Guide me, please.
Yep. From your character sheet, you go to dice, and then from your dice, you go to manual dice pool, and then you just adjust the one that you made earlier or make a new one.
Oh, wait.
You forget. Ajala is ridiculously handsome.
Yes, Ajala is ridiculously handsome.
I would forget that. He's ridiculously handsome. I should say that.
All right, should I adjust it to just in terms of difficulty then?
So this is once you have wits investigation, then you're gonna change the difficulty to 8.
Wait, I don't have it. Let me see. Custom.
Let me run over to your sheet.
Yeah.
Serafino, character sheet. Yeah, here we go. So up here at your main dice pool, we go wits, and then we go down. Investigation. Oop, almost had it. And then investigation. Where's investigation? Should be under knowledges. There it is. And then difficulty 8, and you just roll that.
Let me see. I can't see it though. Am I in the wrong place?
You're on the dice tab. So on the on the third, like sub tab of the dice tab, you see dice pools. Then you see boosted
Main
attributes.
dice pool.
Then main.
Yeah,
Notice.
Wait, investigation.
Yep.
Difficulty
8.
8. Okay.
And then roll. Here we go. Oof. 0. You managed to find within your pockets unfortunately a rotted away piece of parchment.
God. Unlucky.
Yep.
You can also see that the hair she has is down to her waist in length, so it's very long. And yeah, so that she looks kind of plain otherwise, and like average height.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Me is scruffy dark hair, black eyes, hides his face under a hood, tries not to be seen.
Do I have layers I can open up, or will it be indecent to do so?
You have a few layers that you can take off, yeah.
Yeah, she will start taking it off, and that's where am I? And first in Arabic, I think, because that I heard someone spoke. That's more common to that. So I ask that. Where am I?
So you ask where you are, and this guy is going to respond with... so the noble looking individual is the one who responds to you. And the exact location that he says... you are just outside of Al-Huij.
I do a courtesy towards him. I'm in your debt. I don't know... How did I get here? Where am I in an accident? She tries to look on herself. Is she like wounded?
You begin searching yourself for any wounds. You manage not to find any. And the man responds, "How you got here is of quite interest to me, for this location was sold to me by someone, with a map to your exact spot. Speaking of a great treasure. Now I see that great treasure was 3 people stuck in a hole in a box." And it takes a drink from his water skin.
I'm pretty sure my father can pay for and then ransom, like pay something for you for finding me. Some reward.
A noble then. And he chucks his water skin at you.
Yeah, she will catch it. And yeah, drink some from it.
Okay. So is a very pleasant sensation as you begin to drink from the water skin. You can feel that your throat is like very dry. It feels like you haven't had a drink in ages. and the moisture causes your throat to crack a little bit before finally you get this horrible sensation that you have to throw up.
I do.
I would like to make you to make me. This is going to be.
Are you sure that I have to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For this, yeah. This is going to be a dexterity, and you know what? How about we do dexterity awareness or alertness? That's better.
Dexterity and alertness.
Yeah.
Dexterity and alertness. Something.
Well, your rolls. Alertness and awareness, what is the difference?
Awareness is for supernatural. Alertness is for things like ambushes, things like that. 4 successes.
That should be 3 because I forgot to change it to 8.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So you feel like as the water goes down your throat, at first everything feels fantastic, and then suddenly you feel as though it hits something in your throat, something hard, and the taste is almost resiny. Like the resin from when they put resin on bowstrings. For a violin or things like that. It tastes like that resin. So very horrible. And you can feel the liquid beginning to come back up, but you stop yourself and you maintain yourself. And you can feel this small bead of unknown resin in your mouth at this point.
Alright. She will cough a little and say thank you. And then she will hand over the water skin to her left. Whichever one of them are to my left. I think actually it would be...
Ajalara.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that water skin since the other one was filled with rancid blood. And I'll take a swig from that.
Alright, you're going to end up making me the same roll, as you have a similar sensation.
I do have a ability, but I'm not sure if that counts in this situation.
In this situation, it does not.
Okay.
I know what ability you are thinking of.
Exactly. So that was dexterity and so new dice for dexterity and awareness,
Alertness.
Just standing in the sun.
1 success. Okay. So, unfortunately, you're not able to stop it. But what happens is you can feel the sensation, and as you cough whatever this is out, you catch in your hand a black stone-shaped pebble of resin.
That is weird. Well, I've spat out the water again, I'm guessing, because of that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to be selfish and take another swig before I hand it to the other guy.
This time it goes down with no problem.
There you go, and I'll hand it to him. Sort of wondering what that thing in my hand is.
So, looking at the water skin and looking at the effect it had on those two, can I not take a swig?
You can choose to do whatever you want to do.
So, Ajalara, can I see that black resin rock you just spat out?
I'm looking at it myself. While I'm looking at it, can I make a roll if I see if there's anything particular about it?
Sure, absolutely. You can go ahead and make me an intelligence occult roll, difficulty 9.
Difficulty 9, okay. Intelligence occult.
Well, if he coughs up something, my character is also looking at what he coughed up, so...
I will say that all of you are able to make this roll.
As in, I will check it while I make the roll and then sort of show it to Serafina.
I think I should do this roll because I have intelligence 5 and occult 4.
I think we all get 1 roll each.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Occult
Well,
intelligence.
high diff.
-1 for me.
Oof,
Oh,
you
I
know.
actually
You have
got
no
one.
idea what it is, Ajala. Cecilia.
No.
Okay. All right.
That is
Well,
surprising.
all right. One success. Interesting. Very interesting. And then if Serafino wants to make his roll,
Let
that's
me
what we're
see.
waiting on.
At. Oh god, shouldn't be like this, should it? Is it an initiative? No.
No,
It's
no, no.
from-
You're
It's
going to go
main.
back to your main. Yeah.
Wits investigation is still there. How do I add a new one?
So where it says wits investigation, you can click on the words wits and you can click on the word investigation and change them
okay.
accordingly.
Oh, okay. So intelligence and occult.
Mm-hmm. Difficulty 9.
Difficulty 9.
Absolutely 9.
Wow. Okay. So
Surprising.
unfortunately, you didn't succeed at the roll, but you did get a 10 in there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That
That's fine.
is an unusual roll.
Yeah, Cecilia. It takes you a while to recognize it. However, you believe this to be some sort of tree sap that is hardened into this shape.
Is that tree sap?
I don't know. I'm sorry for that response, but it had to be in there. Yeah, I know.
Can I remember anything from my knowledge of the occult?
Unfortunately, because you got a -1 success, no, you are unfamiliar with this object.
Okay.
What you do get
No
is the
idea.
object.
Yes.
Because I'm giving it to you.
All right. So the noble individual looks at the three of you and says, "Well, unfortunately, I do not have a need of slaves, so I will not make you one, any of you.
Glad to hear.
I'm sure it is good to hear. Either way, do any of you know who you are exactly?
And I remember my
No.
name, right?
All you can remember is your names. That is it.
Cecilia of Montfort.
Montfort. I believe there is a castle to the north of Jerusalem named Montfort. Very interesting.
How far is it there from here?
From where we are, a good 4 days ride to Jerusalem. Maybe 10 days.
Well, if you take me there, I'm sure that they will make a great feast for you.
We will see. For night, you will be treated as my guest. You can join me in the village. And he points in the direction of, this would be east.
I'm Serafino Carayan, and I'm from Spain, Iberia.
Of which side, my good friend?
Closer to the west, near the beach. Northwest.
Very interesting indeed. I myself have not been to the area, so. But I have heard of it. You will have to tell me stories one day. And you?
What is the man saying? As in, you two seem to speak the same language, but I don't understand a word of
Yeah,
what's
you don't
coming
understand
from
any
him.
of this.
Sure, go for it.
No, she like halts and like, no, you can do it.
He's asking what's your name and where you're from. I can translate for you if you want.
I'm a Jala. I'm from the Mercurian Kingdoms.
His name is Ajala. He's from the Mercurian Kingdoms and he does not speak our language.
Ah! Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. I've been there once. Perhaps, what part?
What part of the kingdoms are you from?
I think that would be... What was the name of that city again? I'm guessing you... Do I remember that? Or
Go ahead and make me... actually, I'll say, you remember that you what part of the Mercurian Kingdom you were from.
Well, he's looking for that. When I checked myself for wounds,
Mhm.
did I see the shackles?
You do, yes. I should mention that. None of you can go very far from each other. You have about 10 feet of shackles between all of you.
Right, she will look up to the no. I will wait for the other one to respond, actually.
Let's,
To see if
no,
we find-
go ahead while you do that, because I'm...
Alright. Do you have a blacksmith or something in town that can help us with the shackles?
They do have a blacksmith in town. I'm sure we can get those off of you.
Can you
am-
arrange for transportation for us to get to the village?
It
So
is
we
not
can-
far. It's only about an hour's walk from here.
But we can't walk.
He looks at the space between the chains. You can shuffle.
Oh, fantastic. Quick detailed in between. I think the capital was Dongola.
How many horses do you
Okay,
have with you?
so you mentioned that to him. It's just the one horse. Everybody else is walking, including the individual who looks like a lesser noble, who stands next to him and hasn't said a peep.
Yeah, then I will not say anything to demand the right.
What state are these chains in, by the way?
They are rusted. They are very heavy. They don't look like normal chains that go on people. They're maybe about 4 inches thinner than chains that you would normally see for something like an anchor.
But they're definitely iron.
Yes.
An anchor.
Yes.
For an anchor, this is really thick.
Yes.
I was thinking of let's try and break these, but that is not even going to be a try.
No, not happening.
You
Not
need a
happening.
blacksmith.
That's not
But,
exactly.
What are our chances to walk in these up to the village?
You can shuffle. It will
Exactly
not be
that.
a fast process.
Do I have shoes on? Or like sandals?
If you were wearing shoes beforehand in the winter, I would say yes.
Then I probably have very thick leather boots or something with probably fur on the inside.
You might even have riding boots on.
Oh yeah, that might be true.
The state of our clothes, by the way, is that also decrepit and old, or?
No, shockingly.
No. Okay.
It looks fresh.
It's surprising considering everything else.
Everything
that came
else was
out of that
ruined,
box
yeah.
Is ruined, as in.
Yeah, well, we can't have been out
They
that
do
long.
smell a bit stale, though.
While noticing that, by the way, can I sort of quickly pick up a piece of the broken wood, see as in how dry is it? Is it completely, as in how, does it look like it's been buried for ages or?
Sure.
recently?
Go ahead, and this is going to be. Let me use Serafino's page as a guideline, seeing as he's probably going to need the most help with rolls and things. Let's make this a. I'm going to say perception. Perception investigation. It's more based on feel.
Investigation.
Perception investigation.
You're unsure. You're not someone who's like extremely talented. You're not a you're not a carpenter, unfortunately.
No.
So you're unfamiliar with the quality of wood and its aging processes. If anyone else would like to attempt to try this, you're more than welcome to.
I want to try.
Okay.
When they start showing interest, yeah, and it was wit investigation.
No, this is perception investigation. It's more based on the touch, the feel,
All right.
and this will be at difficulty 8.
Let me see. Investigation. Difficulty 10, right?
No, 8.
8.
8. Okay.
You should
10
pray that it
would be
never goes to
harder.
10.
Yeah.
Mainly because it shouldn't ever be able to go to 10. I believe the max difficulty that you can have is 9.
You already rolled a few of those.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no, neither one of you have any real experience dealing with the age of wood when it comes to being buried.
Makes
So
sense.
Someone who had craft.
To the three of you, it feels like wood. Polished wood on the outside, but just sanded wood on the inside.
Is there anything around us but us, the sand, the people, and the coffin and chains?
There are a few palm trees off in the distance, in the direction of the town.
I'm thinking we could use the palm trees to try and break the chains.
I doubt it. I think palm trees are rather brittle.
I think the blacksmith is a better bet.
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking about metal chains here. Also, how come I can understand you and not the old man again?
Yeah,
Because do you understand Latin?
You speak something entirely different than I do. I've heard this language in the churches. The priests speak it, but
Yes. Then we can understand Latin, and so do you, but you don't understand Arabic like us.
but
but
what are you?
when
But
she speaks his language, I do understand her.
you do. What language are you speaking? I don't.
Shall I call
She
it
seems
Nubian
confused.
for now? Because Sudanese, Nubian, something.
Yeah,
like
we'll call it
She's
either Sudanese. Yeah, we'll just call it Sudanese for now.
Sudanese.
She looks confused. I didn't think I knew Sudanese.
I didn't think I knew either that language or Latin.
Could it be that we just understand each other,
That seems.
even though we speak different languages?
This is like pre-Tower of Babel scripture stuff, as in, this is weird.
I'm glad somebody knew that reference.
Maybe we probably just confused. If we just probably remember why we know these languages. That makes more sense. Let's go to town.
Yes, I want these chains removed
Oh,
because
really?
they are rather uncomfortable.
Agreed.
So, let's do the shuffle, shall we?
All right.
Are the three of you ready?
Yes.
We're shuffling,
Yes.
Very well, come this way.
whether we like it or not.
And he commands the others to continue to dig and search for treasure. And they begin sifting through the box and pulling it out of the hole and trying to dig and find anything else in the area. As he and the other noble-looking individual lead you to town. And it is an hour's walk. Shuffle.
Yeah. During that hour, I want to ask him. You said you bought the map from someone. Who was
Yes,
talking with
I bought a map from, what was his name? Appleston. He was Crusader of the Hospitaller.
I hear the notes being typed up.
I expect many.
Crusader of.
How you say? He's trying to say it in the appropriate language. That's where he's having his difficulty. Knights Hospitaller.
Ah.
And he struggles to get that out in what sounds like Latin to you, Ajala.
All right. All right. Is this Crusader in your village?
No, I met this Crusader on the road to Damascus.
How long time ago?
6 years.
Well, then it must be unrelated. She says.
That is what I am thinking. That is why I still have my men searching for treasure.
That makes sense. Hopefully, no one else was here before and took both the treasure and put us there instead.
That would be quite unfortunate, but I am glad that I could render my services to you.
Well, it seems like the divine is smiling at us.
Pajala, by the way, is making obvious faces, being only able to follow one side of that conversation. Like,
I tried to explain to Ajala. She asked for how did he find us, and he told her he found a map he bought from a man called Athelstan, one of the Crusaders of the Knights Hospitaller, on the road to Damascus 6 years ago.
do I have any idea what that means? Crusader. Have I ever heard of the Crusades? Do you think that means
The Crusades have definitely been a thing. Your last memories, the year that you remember being in is 1105. That is the last year you remember. So 1099 definitely happened. The Crusades were absolutely brutal. Thousands of Jews, Muslims, and Christians were slaughtered to the last within the city of Jerusalem. The last count was around 120-ish thousand. Yeah. That's all you know about the Crusades.
That news would probably have spread far and wide, so I probably
yeah.
would have heard of that. Sounds like we're in for a fight in that case.
Alright. When we are shuffling, I will try to hide it for some reason from the man on the horse and his follower, but the others will probably notice that she will try to cough out if she also had something in her throat.
Yes, and you do manage to cough it out.
Then she will hide
And
it.
you have a similar, same size, same shape, black resiny sap.
She will save that for later. She will try to hide it, but I guess these on her left and right will see it anyway.
All right.
If I take notice, it'll be like, By the way, before we left the location of us being dug up completely, is it possible to have had a proper look at one of the, or at some of the guys that were digging us up, like the normal people, the peasants, basically?
Sure, yeah. What do you want to know about them?
I just want to know if there's any one of those that would be memorable enough for me to remember them by face.
Most of them seem like average Joes. However, one did stand out to you. A man of similar tan to yourself. He looked more like he was probably from Egypt, southern Egypt, and his distinguishing feature was that he had a scar that went from the corner of his mouth up to his eye. And it looked like it was old. And it didn't look like it was caused by a blade, possibly by something smaller.
Okay, so a scar over his eye.
He's the only one that kind of stood out to you.
I kind of want to remember that. Alright, no. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
While we shuffle along.
Yeah.
Any other conversations that want to happen? Oh, go ahead.
She probably removes more of her layers, so she only is down to one, at least a decent layer. Maybe she's like 2 anyway, if it's going to be warm.
Okay.
And she had winter clothing on, that seems...
I bow my head down in shame as she undresses near me.
Very well.
Well, I'll probably be staring ahead, avoiding looking at her as well at this point. This is probably not very Christian behavior to actually start looking openly like what she's doing, so yeah. I'm not sure if I have like a linen overcoat or something, like just a robe on top
Probably.
of my
Yeah, probably you do.
That will probably also cover my shoulders, so if I see her removing clothing, I might offer that one because it's lighter than what she seems to be wearing.
See what she said. No, I can't undress that much, I can use that. I just want to remove the jacket.
Oh.
Maybe later, if I can get some privacy. Thank you.
I'll just nod and continue shuffling, as in, this is an uncomfortable conversation.
Very well.
Yes, she's very uncomfortable too.
It's the most
She's
awkward
dying.
1 hour shuffle of my life.
Exactly.
So eventually,
1 hour long shuffle.
all of you do see just ahead of you a relatively small town that comes into view. There are a number of palm trees scattered about here and there around it. You can see that recently there's been heavy irrigation work done from a large well that looks like it's been recently stoned. There are just the tiniest bits of greenery poking through on dug up patches of land that are, look like they are being made into farmland. Most of the houses are ramshackle. However, there are a few that look to be in the center of town that are well made. There aren't any fortifications or anything like that. It's a very open town. but the nobleman leads you into town and eventually takes you to one of the nicer looking establishments here in town, which has a wooden signpost of a sword leaning against a log. And when he takes you in, you can, there is maybe about 8 individuals kind of sitting about, drinking away their woes. A few chairs, some very ratty and decrepit tables. And he says, if you will, please, go ahead and find yourselves somewhere to sit down and wait. I will go and speak to the blacksmith.
Okay, he's gonna speak to the blacksmith, Ajala.
Thank you.
And he heads out.
And yeah, she looks around a bit, and then
As you look
Should we
around, there's an older man, maybe in his late 50s, who has his eyes are heavily clouded over with some sort of disease. You're not sure exactly which, but he kind of just gently raises his hand in all of your direction. And a younger woman who he motions towards comes over, and in Farsi. So, remind
Barely.
me. Yeah, only one of you barely knows that. She asks you something about tea.
I answer in Arabic. Do you speak Arabic?
Yes, I do.
Oh, so do I, thank God.
Would you like tea?
She changed language again, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
she changed from Farsi to Arabic. She's asking if you want some tea.
Well, sure, but that aside, don't you think that's... Well, not that she changes language is weird, but don't you think it's weird that I can understand she's speaking a different language, but I understand it while I'm not supposed to understand it?
I address her, but he's having this meltdown, and
Actually pointing like something is not right here.
Is your friend okay?
we are all tired. Maybe we can get some water first.
Yes, I can get you some water. Any food?
Am I hungry?
You don't feel it right now.
I think I'm too thirsty to feel so hungry. Just take water first, and then we order some food.
Very well. Go
Are you
ahead and
hungry,
pick out a
Ajala?
place to sit down.
Yeah.
Am I hungry is being
No.
asked. No,
No, okay.
not really actually.
Let's shuffle to that table. It looks empty.
Okay.
This is going to be an awkward sitting down, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is going to be awkward sitting down, as the chains, unfortunately, only bend at like 15 degrees on each link. So yeah, this doesn't go too well for all of you, and you end up having to move the seats around. It's quite uncomfortable, but a few minutes later, some water comes out, and she sets that down, and you watch as older man and a younger man step inside, followed by the noble that pulled you out of the hole. There they are. And the older man steps up to you, and he has a few notes that he's holding in his hands, and he places them down on the table and starts writing before walking away. And you see the younger man come over, and he has a hammer and nail in hand, and he says, in Arabic, he says, I would like to try and chip away.
Outside, then, I guess.
It is fine. We can do in here. Uncle owns.
Oh, all right. Well, start with one of those at edges, I guess.
Okay.
That
So
seems more
he goes
reasonable.
over to Serafino. He goes over to your side of the chain, and he begins trying to chip away at it. And the moment the hammer hits the nail and the nail hits the chain, there is a loud pop. And you all feel a sudden weight removed as the chain simply falls to the ground
From all of us.
from all of you.
That's so weird.
That is not normal.
And the
is
boy
it?
stands and goes, I didn't do that.
I have never seen construction like this, but
I'm not
Thank
sure
you.
what's going on here, but this is starting to feel a lot like trickery. As in,
We were buried
Grid.
by these people, and they know how to take the chains off.
You can see the
These-
older
these
gentleman
people-
and the noble arguing with each other at the door in Farsi.
Can you tell anything from that?
Impossible
Cecilia.
is the only word you make out.
Cecilia,
uh,
what
she,
word?
she says in Latin to the rest, like, he said the word impossible. I can't really make out the rest.
Impossible.
She will pinch herself. Maybe she's still sleeping or something. That
No
makes more
effect.
sense.
This doesn't
Oh.
feel like sleep, I would say, when I see her pinching herself. As in,
Well,
whoever
I-
locked us into that box, whatever locked us into this box.
But I don't
I don't-
even know who you are. I don't know who anyone of you are.
No,
I had
don't know
winter
why-
clothing. This is not winter.
I still think these people were paid to bury us, and then went to pick up the scraps
I
later
kinda-
on at some point.
These chains coming off, that seems like a form of witchcraft at the very least, I think. As in, what would I think could be behind this, coming from a Christian from, well, early 12th century?
There are a number of things that could be behind this. I mean, it could be anything from witchcraft to a miracle. Definitely not natural, though.
Okay.
So if you look over the chains, they are not connected in that way, but they're still all open.
They are connected by links to each other. So you are
Yeah.
all connected to each other. You only had like 10 feet of movement that you could do away from each other.
Yeah, but there was no like opening that was connected.
There was
at
no
all.
opening that was connected like that. Yeah, no. It just felt
And how
like
did
suddenly
he
the
open
chains
them?
loosened. He went and he hit your side of the chains near your leg to try and chisel away at it, and suddenly there was a loud pop. And the two of you who didn't, whose chains he didn't hit, it just felt like the chains loosened and hit the floor. Your side, there's like a crack in the chains where he hit it, and then it just
Okay.
felt like it loosened and dropped.
Okay. As if the
Something-
crack loosened the entire chains.
Right.
Something
And how did he
tells me-
know that he could crack that spot to like open up the chains? That is intriguing.
Well, we will leave that mystery for after we come back from the break. So thank you all so much for being
no.
here. We will be right back. We're going for a quick break. See you soon.
See you guys soon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Children of the Cup, Episode 1. Oh, mysteries and weirdness abound. Our characters are now awake, and they are in the small town of Al-Huhij, is, I suppose, how you would pronounce it. Excuse me if I get any pronunciations wrong. I don't exactly speak these languages, nor am I familiar with how they are pronounced. So, as the argument continues at the door between the nobleman and the blacksmith in Farsi, what would the three of you like to do?
I'd like to have some tea.
Okay. So you go ahead and begin drinking, and I'm going to need from you, this is going to be dexterity alertness. Difficulty 8.
Alright.
Even in the shadow of the house?
Even in the shadow of the house, it's still daytime, unfortunately. 1 success. So yeah, you aren't able to stop it from coming out of your mouth, but you are able to catch it. And once again, we see the third of the black sap-like resin.
Okay. I shall put it in one of my many pockets.
See, as in, he's got one as well. Someone is trying to harm us or did this to us, as in, this is unholy.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this, yes. I don't know what. She takes some water and drinks.
Is this chain still on the ground, or is the...
Oh, it's still on the ground, yeah. No
I'll
one's
pick
dared
this
touch
up
it.
And I'll try and hold it up and shake it. Like, this is not supposed to react like this. This is iron or metal or... And I'll just drop it again, like, really dramatically.
Clanks
Yeah, she
heavily
like-
to the floor.
She shudders a bit when it drops. Like, I don't
I
know.
just put my hand on my head again in shame.
So, you notice everyone in the establishment is giving all of you, except for, of course, the noble and the blacksmith, who are still arguing at each other, a heavy glare of who in the heck are these people and why are they weird?
The kid who had the pin with him, is he still around?
No, he's bolted.
Did he leave the pin behind or not?
Yeah, I'd say he was definitely freaked out enough about it to have dropped the hammer and nail that he was using.
I am... This is gonna look ridiculous, but I'm gonna try and repeat the process on a different link of the chain.
Okay. This is going to be for you. Strength athletics.
Because he's also sort of freaked out by this, and he's like, this is not right, this shouldn't respond like this.
The difficulty will still be 8 as it is daytime.
Strength, athletics, 8. 1
Okay.
success.
1 success. So you go and you bang down the hammer and nail onto the chain. You watch as the nail actually bends when you smack it onto the chain, but the chain does crack slightly.
How did they open?
I'm not a blacksmith, I don't know. She says, faking defensiveness.
Is it noticeable, the faking?
That would be a good question. How about you make me a... Let's go with manipulation subterfuge.
Yeah, that's my best.
Versus... this is going to be... Do they have insight here? No, I don't see insight. So... What would replace insight?
I was wondering if that was the difference between alertness and awareness, but that's
Yeah.
not it.
I think you use alertness.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll say that we use alertness until we can find such an answer in the book later on. So let's go for wits alertness.
With alert. Oh, God. This is not alphabetical. This is divided up in.
Yeah, it's divided by talent, skill, knowledge.
Oh, you actually use subterfuge also. The better you are at lying, the better you are at
Ah, okay.
detecting.
So in that case, wits subterfuge.
With subterfuge. huge. Difficulty 8, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. And you're looking to beat a 0. Nope, you go through that 0,
No,
so
in
it goes
match.
to the defender in the match, so you are unable to tell that anything is deceptive in any way.
This is all just way too weird.
She drinks a little more water.
I'll sit down and also grab one of the cups of tea because wishing it was a bit stronger, but
You all can make out that the noble individual says no several times to the blacksmith before finally the blacksmith storms out in anger, and the noble turns to the three of you and says, "For now, you may stay here. There is argument as to whether or not a priest should come to cleanse you."
I'm looking at the other two.
I have convinced them not to do it so far, but I would suggest you not stay past the night.
What is he saying?
He wants us to leave by morning, or there might come a priest to cleanse us.
That doesn't sound
no,
like
he
a
wants-
bad idea, and we don't
He
know
wants us
what
to
role
leave
this-
until nighttime, right?
He's saying that you can stay the night, but then in the morning you should be gone.
Okay.
Essentially.
Can I ask him if we can have a map of the area?
He turns to the older man who waved to all of you when you initially enter, and he asks in Farsi. What you can roughly make out is the word map. And eventually, between discussion between him, the old man, and the woman who brought you your drinks, they bring out a very rough, burned, crinkled piece of parchment, which he hands to you, and that brings us to the region map.
Right. Cecilia will say though,
Hey,
is there any caravans leaving? Or something like that?
No, this is not a caravan route, unfortunately. We are... and he looks over at the map and points, and I will go ahead and do a ping on the map. We are roughly here. And for those of our viewers who can't see the map, where he is roughly pointing to on Google Maps is Ba'ir Sheva. That is the location in the real world map that he's roughly pointing to.
So we are south of the
oh,
Holy
can you
City.
ping that again, please?
Yeah, it's roughly like here.
Okay.
Also, why would
So-
it be bad if there comes a priest?
Okay.
If a priest comes, what happened to us? This is not right.
He doesn't use the word priest as in Catholic priest. I believe the Muslim priest is called an imam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not as comfortable with that. Do you think there might be priests in Jerusalem?
Yes,
Hundreds.
that should be Peter. That
How
should be-
many do you want?
They
I probably can
could
buy
help us. It's
1,000.
the holy city, as in whatever happened to us, as in. I think that's our destination.
But how will we get there? And she looks over. I'm not sure we can just walk. We don't have anything.
Hmm. Could you
How-
provide us with some provisions and water so we can walk to the nearest city?
Yes, I could provide you with such. Give me
How
some
long-
time.
How long does it take for us to get to the next city on foot?
On foot. The next town is 3 days. By horse, the next town is half a day's travel.
Can we get a horse?
That, unfortunately, would be out of my price range, as you would say.
Horses are
Ridiculously,
valuable.
yeah. They're expensive.
You can buy probably several houses of a single horse when it comes to the normal.
To put it in
people
perspective,
class
horses in this time period are the equivalent of owning a Porsche. So they cost accordingly.
Why am I thinking about stealing one?
That's okay. Do you
Did
say
you
that?
say that out loud? We're asking. Did you say that out loud?
Nah, I just thought it.
Okay, good. Then I won't respond to that.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you for everything anyway.
It
She
is my
looks a
pleasure.
bit disappointed, but she tries to give like a courtesy, no, like small bow or something.
Sure.
Thank
I'll
you.
probably look at the other two for a translation again, and I'm gonna guess they'll probably give it.
We
Yeah.
won't get the horse. You will only get food and water.
Okay, but as for the nearest city, are there towns in between where we can rest?
Yeah, no. She
No.
asked, are there small towns or like villages like this on the way?
A day to the west is a town like this, yes. That is actually where the Imam would be gotten from, though.
And we
Must
want
be
to head
actually
north.
passing through. Why are we so desperate to avoid the Imam? As in, okay, it's not. As in, okay, it's not a Catholic priest, but
I'm not so afraid of that. I'm more afraid of. I just want to travel as short as possible so we don't meet bandits.
I just don't like
Oh.
people in general.
If you do not want to meet any of the tribes people, your best bet would be following the roads to the west to get to the town. From there, you can take the Pilgrim's Road. It's maybe a half a day's walk from the town. Between Daram and Jerusalem, there is a road known as Pilgrim's Road. It goes from Daram through Jerusalem all the way up to Acre and Tyre. I believe it ends somewhere in Tripoli.
She will. I don't know if this is any use of you, but she will like. She has some clothes that she'll take out extra layers.
Mhm.
Are you willing to trade so I can get some funds so I can stay the night at the tavern or something on the way? And she holds out her coat.
Definitely. Sure. And he goes into a small coin purse at his hip, and he pulls out. We'll use D&D terms for gold and things like that, because I don't know how the
Alright.
actual money works.
it's probably a lot more complicated.
It's
right,
way
from the
more
time.
complicated. There are several
Yeah.
different currencies at this time period. So we'll go with, he gives you the equivalent of a gold and 8 silver, and maybe about 10 copper.
Alright. She will take that and I will type that up as well and give over the coat. And yeah, then I shall have something. She can probably stay a few nights at somewhere cheap.
It's
I'll
very
go.
cheap to live tavern to tavern, as it were. Usually in this time period, it probably would cost you the equivalent of maybe about 4 copper a person for a night.
That is very cheap when it comes to D&D terms. Quick other question. Being from a very much desert environment, would I actively somehow remember that traveling during full midday would probably be a bad idea anyway?
Go ahead and give me this will be intelligence, Hearth Wisdom.
Ooh, you're
Oh,
asking
can I do that for him?
intelligence and
From Iberia, I'd say from western Iberia near the shores. If it is asked out loud, I'd give it a yes, but
I can't ask it out loud if I don't remember.
right.
Is what I'm thinking. So yeah, that was intelligence, and
Earth wisdom.
which is under knowledge.
Yeah, it would be
It's
under
gonna
knowledges.
It's going to be a painful one.
Mhm.
I'm thinking due to him probably having had to travel, that this would come sort of naturally to him. But one
Hey,
success,
one success.
that's
It's
surprising.
fuzzy. It's very fuzzy, but you do remember something about exhaustion, the sound of battle, and extreme heat. Then you remember the feeling of the sun being high in the sky.
Would I be able to connect those dots as being?
I would say yeah.
fought in the desert during heat.
Hmm. And it was very unpleasant. You remember something tells you that you vaguely remember many people that you knew but can't make out their faces at this time dying from heat exhaustion.
If we're going to travel, we might want to do so during dusk, dawn, and perhaps in the night. But I wouldn't be out during high noon, so to speak.
Cue Matt Mercer.
Mhm.
What time is it?
Did you take any of the merits that allow you to track time?
Let me see.
As in, if the sun is at its highest, we'll want to find cover, else we'll either die of
No.
thirst or of
The only
overheat.
thing I have is an eidetic memory.
That will actually work for it.
Okay.
So you peek your head outside and you look up at the sky, and judging by the sun, it will be dusk in about 2 hours.
Perfect time for a travel. What do you say, Ajala?
Well, if they want us out of here, I would like to get to Jerusalem. Of all places on this
Then
world.
we probably should eat some before we travel.
Yeah, and take those provisions and water they promised.
It will depend on how much time he will need for those.
Yeah. How much time do you
Also-
need to get the provisions? She would say in Arabic. We're planning on maybe traveling during the evening if it's going to be better weather.
If it is urgent, I can get it in roughly about an hour.
That would be fun. We need to eat some.
Well, very well. You stay here, you eat, and I will go get these things.
Can I ask you to fix maybe some robes for me? This is very warm clothing I have. I want something
I can
like
get you
that.
some very light clothing. Yes, this will be easy. There's a seamstress nearby.
Thank you.
And as he leaves in Arabic, he'll say, Allah be praised, and he'll walk out.
I am wondering.
Do you answer in courtesy on those things, even if you don't share religion?
There is an answer to it. I, at one point, knew the answer to it, but yes, it's close to that.
But the thing is, this is what I want to ask. Would there be like this automatic trigger to reply with that? Is what I was wondering. Just out of
Is that normal,
some
even if you
form
don't
of
share
common
religion?
ground? Because I do. That is a good question. I'm curious about that. Because I do know that in the past, before the First Crusade, that the whole Muslim territory was like, these are all religions of the book, so it didn't matter whether you were Jiddish or Christian or Muslim. You're all religion of the book, so you all respect each other and live together, basically.
And Muslims
But
still
then
treated
came
that
the
way, but
Crusades.
things have changed. Yeah,
Things changed as soon as the Crusades came in and were like, we're gonna kill everyone.
right.
Yeah, including Christians, by the way, which because they lived on that side of the
Yep.
strait there. So yeah.
I would say at this point, unfortunately, no. It's not an automatic response. It's not something
Not an
that
automatic
triggers.
response. Okay, so that doesn't.
Then she just nods.
Also, you too. though. I can't reply that. I don't understand him.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, do you flag down the woman and get food? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
She'll charge you like 2 copper each for food.
I will pay up for 6 copper then.
Very well.
While she's
And
paying, can I check my pockets? Do I have anything in my pockets?
make me. This is going to be. Actually, I won't make you roll for this. In your pockets. Yeah, in your pockets there is there's a single gold piece, and it carries on it the date when it was minted, and we'll say it was minted in 1087. And on this coin, it also has a familiar yet unknown to you face of a male individual who you think to be a king of some sort.
I'll put that back where it came from. Just for a rainy day, I guess.
Yeah. In your other pocket, there is a blue ribbon. It's not very long, it's just there.
Does it look like it would be like a woman's ribbon or something like that?
More like a
or-
girl's, a small girl's, child's.
There will be like a slight eyebrow raise, and we'll be putting that back as well.
Okay. Food is brought out. Of course, it has no pork whatsoever, and it's chicken and a little bit of rice, with a few greens spread in there.
Oh no, you're making me hungry.
Oh wow, brains.
But you guys go ahead and eat. There are no repercussions, even for those of you who didn't eat food at this point. Which is a really good quick check. Did everybody eat food?
Nope.
Okay,
So I did.
you did, and I believe
People did.
yeah. So currently no repercussions. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, it feels a bit like the beast is asleep during the day or something. If we are vampires at all, like, or if that still has to
Perhaps my players are slowly catching on.
happen.
All
I'm
right.
thinking this from the start, but.
Come nighttime, the demons come in.
Nighttime, the demons
So.
get stronger.
You all eat, and the food is absolutely delicious. You feel like you haven't eaten in ages, and in fact, Ajala, make me a. This is going to be with survival.
Oh dear. That doesn't. Survival is on the skills I'm taking. It is. There it is. Survival. No.
No. Ooh. Okay. A memory feels like it's coming to you, but just as quickly it slips away. Okay. After you all finish eating, what would you like to do? As my camera has apparently frozen.
Well,
Second place.
I'm waiting for the clothing, I guess. And then I will,
I
probably
would
change
like to
somewhere.
step away for a bit, and while being away from them, I want to check my pockets.
There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Cameras are back up. Okay. So you go ahead and check your pockets. What you find in your pockets, aside from that, aside from that destroyed piece of parchment that you found earlier, you find a Roman denarii.
Mm-hmm.
And there is there's a small wooden toy soldier.
Sounds like something from Don Quixote or something. Okay. Thank you.
It's in the. By the way, the toy soldier's in the style of very early Visigoth warrior.
I get curious. I will check my pockets too.
Sure. In your pockets, there is a small rosary with a name attached to it. On the it's basically a piece of parchment that's like mostly rotted, but you can just barely make out like a first name. The first name that you can make out is Isabella. And besides that, you find in your pockets a signet ring of House Montfort.
That is really good that I found. I'm happy now.
I will mention that it is aged badly, so you can make out that it is a signet ring of the house, but it looks like the ring is like falling apart at this point.
I can probably not make stamps with it.
No, it's probably too fragile at this point.
Alright, I will make sure that I keep it. I won't have it on me then, I will make sure that I try to take care of it. Does the name Isabella ring any name when I read it?
Let's make for you a wits. Yeah, just a straight wits roll.
Oh no. Okay. D8.
Yep.
Well, here goes nothing.
Ooh,
Oh my god.
wow.
One die and I rolled a 10.
There's an image that comes to mind. A
Oh,
girl coming into her womanhood. Younger than you remember. Extremely beautiful. Venetian. You remember standing on the docks with this woman. She was in a very beautiful dress, also in winter dress apparel, like you were, and it was snowing. The docks were mostly empty. There were a few ships that were moored and kind of mothballed for the season. And you faintly remember the sound of plated riding boots stepping on the docks behind the two of you as you talked about something, but you can't remember what.
Alright. That would explain my clothes. Maybe someone hit me in the head after that. It's very far time.
Maybe.
Let me hear. That's far away. Alright. Cool.
Okay.
I am thinking we'll be waiting for at least an hour. So when Serafino takes off for a walk, I might as well probably have a look around the village as well. I'm curious as to where the blacksmith is.
You go looking for him. He's actually quite easy to find. He's maybe a good 60 feet down the road, tucked away on the same side of the road as the inn that you're staying at.
There's two things that are going to be difficult here. One is the guy still freaked out. And two, how am I going to explain to him what I'm trying to achieve here? And Ajala will be on the road like, this might end up being difficult. He's going to try anyway.
Okay.
So he's probably going to go into the shop and sort of knock or whatever, announce himself. And then we established that it's Nubian apparently still.
Yes, it is apparently Nubian, not Sudanese.
Which is written in a borrowed form of Greek lettering. But he doesn't read or write, so that doesn't matter. And if the guy doesn't sort of get scared away from the moment he enters, he'll try to explain by gesturing that he's looking for a weapon, something to defend himself. Very awkwardly, I will add to that. Calmly,
I would like you
gently.
to make me. This is going to be. Wow. Charisma, empathy.
Oh, this is gonna hurt. I love these kind of rolls. Empathy is probably under skills, I'm guessing, or is that no?
Empathy is under talents.
Talents, even. There we go. Difficulty of 8. Charisma, empathy, difficulty of 8. There we go. It should be. Ah!
One success. Wow.
One die, I believe.
Feels like I'm the only one rolling shit.
Fewer dice means better rolls apparently in this game.
You get
That's
across that you are looking to get something to defend yourself. He is a town blacksmith. He is not a blacksmith that is dedicated to an armory. You can see that there are some very crudely made weapons that he has. And he goes over to them and points to them and nods his head.
Now comes another problem that I think of. How am I going to pay for this?
And that is the question that he asked by putting his hand in front of him, and
I'll be like pointing a finger upwards, like, give me a moment, and I'll turn around and head back towards the inn. For the time being. I'm gonna check if the woman with the money is there.
Cecilia is still there.
To see. Cecile, that was your name, right? Or am I pronouncing it
Cecilia.
wrong?
Yeah.
Cecilia.
Yeah.
Cecilia, one thing, if we're going on the road, we might want to be able to defend ourselves slightly. The blacksmith seems to have some weapons. They don't look amazing, but they would do the job.
Is anyone of you a soldier or fought?
I do remember fighting.
Well done,
Fighting in
bitch.
a blazing sun, which was not exactly great.
That sounds awful. Well, she stands up. Yeah, let's go there then. Let's see
Alright.
what we can get.
Let's head back to the blacksmith.
Okay.
Back and forth.
you head back to the
Yeah.
blacksmith. And he stands and looks at the two of you.
And
And-
then I will say,
He makes the sign of give money.
and then she will say, "You speak Arabic?"
No.
Do I know the word for how many? Can I say how many silver in use?
Unfortunately, that's too complicated to say in Farsi for you at this
But
point.
she holds up a silver, and then she's like, 2 silver, like how much? Like trying to show like how much it costs.
I'm probably not very aware of this, but probably a bad idea to show more silver than you want to pay, especially if you've got a questioning face.
We
He
have a
walks
language
over to the
barrier.
weapons that he has. He pulls out a hatchet, just a simple, like, heavy wooden stick with like a band of metal at the top of it that you can assume is a club. He has like 2 knives in there. He has a proper dagger, and there is sort of a ramshackle saber that he has. And he points to the hatchet and puts up 1. And he points to the club and he says 1.
While she's
Points to the
discussing,
knife
I'll-
1. The dagger 3. And then he points to the saber 5.
While he's explaining the prices, I'm gonna put my head outside and shout, "Hey, Latin-speaking dude,
Yeah.
Are you in earshot?
Yeah, I am.
Do you need a weapon?
I don't think so. I don't remember. Let me just grab onto this soldier that I have, this wooden soldier, and try to remember something.
Oh, okay. With the wooden soldier, let's see here.
Shrug and head back inside.
That's going to be. This is straight wits.
Straight wits.
Yep.
Difficulty 8, I assume.
Mm-hmm. You try and think back to what this could possibly be in regards to, but you get nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I need a weapon. I'm good.
Then
Okay.
Cecilia will point to the hatchet and the knife, not the dagger,
All right.
and hold up the silver.
Reaches out his hand.
Is there more weapons in there besides those, by the way, or?
Those are the only weapons he has available. Everything else is like horseshoes, farm tools, building materials, things like that.
Then
No
I'll let her
slings
do
and stuff?
He doesn't actually have any slings or anything. Like he doesn't have any missile or thrown weapons. But you could possibly go to the seamstress and talk her into making a sling. It's not very complicated.
Yeah, I bet it's. I think if you go to seamstress that's never made a sling, that sling is probably gonna kill you.
It could,
It's actually harder than you think to make it good.
yeah, it could. But you know, he doesn't
I would
unfortunately have one around.
Yeah, she places 2 silver in his hand.
Okay, he hands you a hatchet and the dagger. You said, I think, or no, the knife.
The knife. Yeah.
Okay, so the
So
hatchet, just so you know, whoever's going to have that, is strength plus 1 lethal. That's the damage that it does. You need a minimum of 2 strength in order to properly wield it, and it can be thrown. It has a range of 20 yards, I believe, is the measurement system they use in the game. With a plus 1 difficulty is the throwing action of the hatchet. For
she
the
gives
knife,
the hatchet
okay.
to her friend.
Is there any other shops in the small town?
There are plenty of food stalls. There is a weavery. There's the seamstress. There's a general store, but no other major shops.
Quick repeat on the hatchet.
The hatchet, for the damage, it's going to be strength plus 1 lethal.
How do I?
Let me see. Let me go over here and touch up on Jay's thing. Combat dice pools.
Got melee weapon open. I'll put a hatchet in there. Then minimum strength 2. Then damage was.
Strength plus 1, I think you said.
For this, it's strength plus 1 lethal.
So minimum strength is super. The plus 1 lethal is just lethal. I see no indication for a plus 1. As in no, I have no box to fill it in.
I got you. Go ahead and fill it into your notes, and you'll have to remember when you use it.
Does the knife have any special stats? Otherwise, she just want to hide it on her.
For the knife, it is strength plus 0 lethal, so it's just strength. And it is also minimum strength 2 to properly wield.
It's the same as a spring.
It's just strength. There's no plus 1.
Okay, so the damage is simply 2? Or
Yeah.
is that-
No, it's the damage would be equal to your strength.
Oh, okay.
That's what it means. So, for instance, for the hatchet, if Jay were to swing the hatchet, he would do 5 lethal damage. If Ajala swung the hatchet, you would end up doing 3 lethal damage. And if Cecilia swung the hatchet, she would end up doing... Sorry, Cecilia, you gotta touch your thing real quick. She would end up doing 5 lethal damage as well.
I want to pop in that general store and see what's around.
Okay. That's you run into the noble in the general store. He's kind of getting together some food. He's gotten 3 water skins laid out. They're empty right now. And it looks like he's currently putting some satchels onto the counter when you walk in.
Oh,
Survival package.
I say hi and thank you again for the provisions.
Ah, hello. Is there something I can help you with? Yeah.
I was just looking around, see what this store has to provide except for provisions. Maybe you could have some books around. I don't know.
The older man behind the counter, who's been heavily weathered by time, says, "No books. I have things like," and he points over. He has like rope. He has a few pre-made saddles that are ready to be placed on horse. He has plenty of belts for things like saddles, and he has a couple satchels for and horse bags, things like that. He has plenty of tools for farming and more building material. He has lanterns, oil for those lanterns, things like that, but he doesn't have any weapons. He doesn't have any books. That's not his job, unfortunately.
I look back at the noble and ask, could he add some rope and a lantern to our provisions? If you would, so.
Yes, and he goes over to the table and he puts away the 3 torches that he picked up, and instead he gets a lantern, and he gets 2 of them, and he places them down on the counter instead.
And a piece of rope?
He will get the rope, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm going back to my friends. I assume that they are my friends. I don't know them.
Yeah, waking up in a box together is either very suspicious or we must know each other, right? How else did we end up in here?
We woke up very tight by chains.
Yeah. Can't imagine any good Christian doing anything weird in there. So.
Oh no. The implications of the placing of the people.
They're very high. That is totally up to your characters and what their backstory would say that they are.
Yeah, but we don't remember.
No, I'm saying it's up to you as to whether or not you will have a faith in any of the religions whatsoever they be. For your backstory and otherwise. I won't decide for you if your character in the past was Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Tingri or...
Okay.
in fact, I think for Ajala, there's a possibility he could either be Christian, Orthodox, or... There's a different one. That's more towards Ethiopia. Yeah, no. It's got Coptic, maybe. It's a very slim chance he could be Coptic Christian.
Yeah, I can only be Christian. Spain.
I do know that it was conquered by Muslims in the 7th century, but by the time that we are now, it was Christian again.
Yeah.
So what I'm currently thinking is he remembers the Christian values. He remembers that those values were something he was supposed to abide by.
Mm-hmm.
He also remembers that it feels like he violated them quite terribly. As in, he doesn't feel like he's a good person.
Right.
Is what it comes down to. But he does know that he's probably supposed to try because that's what the values say, and he remembers those values. Well, not exactly in words, but he remembers the concept of them.
No, and it is totally fine for you guys to remember that.
I'm assuming we all meet up at the tavern again, right?
It's your choice.
Well, on my way to the tavern, I look at that symbol again with that sword leaning against the log. Can I try to remember something?
Sure. This will be once again just wits. It's an hour. Actually, no. It'd be about 20 minutes before sunset.
Imagine his character being like this bookworm, not being able to remember where he's from and such. It's like
Very frustrating. Hey. So,
there we go.
what you remember? Ooh, let me look at one thing real quick.
Going for the notes. It's a good sign.
You remember being inside of a stone building. It feels like it must have been a basement of some sort, or at least a lower cellar of some sort. You remember the low light of candles. You remember a writing desk, a standing writing desk, not a sitting writing desk. The smell, the heavy smell of fresh ink. The sound of several people writing. And the faint remembrance of some scripture of some sort in front of you. There is faintly in the background of this memory the sound of someone in prayer, but it's very faint in the distance.
Okay, and after the ink and the people writing, you said there was some sort of writing. What was that about?
Yeah, you remember for some reason you remember standing at a standing writing desk.
Mm-hmm.
And you were writing something. You also remember the sound of several other people writing around you.
Okay, gotcha.
Oops. Didn't mean to do that. There we go.
Okay, I'm back. What did you guys get?
We got a knife and a hatchet to defend ourselves on the road.
Okay.
While she says that, I'll put the hatchet on my shoulder, like bit too obvious.
Okay.
I managed for the Lord to give us some rope and some lanterns instead of torches for our provisions.
That's good.
Might be useful indeed.
Right. 20 minutes of awkwardness.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, the man comes inside and puts down the provisions that he's gotten for you. It's a few days' rations, and you can see that he puts down 3 water skins. They're filled with water. Puts down the rope and the lantern, and he puts down a bit of oil to refill the lantern.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Does he put the clothing as well?
He does, yeah. So he gives you, it's a very light red clothing appropriate for the area and the temperatures of that area, because I don't remember what the clothing is called right at this moment.
Yeah. She will also say, thank you, I will go get changed. And she will ask the barmaid if there's somewhere where she can change her clothes.
She points you to a commons room that's just to the left of the bar.
She will go there and change into clothes. She will keep her other clothes though, because they're probably worth some money.
Okay.
So did Cecilia get the clothes? Only her?
She was the only one who asked for clothes, I do believe.
I think our clothes are not too bad, I think.
Mine are fine for this climate.
Yeah, they're not horrible for this climate. They're pretty decent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess once Cecilia's back, we're ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And remember, did he actually say his name to us?
No.
Sorry for being rude. What was your name?
My name is Hajish.
Hashish or hashish?
Hajish. Hajij.
As in, not a hush, thankfully.
Jeez.
No,
Well,
definitely
Ajit-
not that.
Well, Ajis, if you come by at any point to the Montfort fort north of Jerusalem, just ask for Cecilia, and if I'm not there, tell them your name, then that you saved me, and I will be sure that there will be a reward to you.
Same thing if you ever come to Iberia.
I will do that on my journey back to Baalbak.
Thank you once more. You are literally a lifesaver.
Yes, for people trapped in sand, I sure think I would be. Well, Allah be praised. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
And he steps out of the inn. And as he's stepping out, you can hear several footsteps. And you hear slightly familiar voices. One of them you recognize as the individual who had that scar at the dig site. You hear his voice in particular. And in Arabic, he tells them to make camp.
Interesting.
All right. Start walking, I guess. West.
Okay?
Yeah.
You guys...
Do I know which way west is?
Yes, I will say that because you have someone in the party with an eidetic memory who is able to tell the time, you know which direction west is.
And we have a
Good
map.
question. Is it slightly the same direction that we came from where we
Yes.
dug up? Because if we leave the town then, I'll eventually break silence, if there is silence, and be like, those who dug us up were looking for something. Now, I don't want to be unthankful to that man who saved us, in a sense, but might it be interesting to learn more about why we were buried there and what else might be in there?
Well, I don't have a shovel.
No,
I think
but I
they
think
would
they
do
are
that.
already digging, and I'm not sure what they were talking about at the door earlier, but that
There was
man
t-
was one of the diggers, so they might have found something.
Do you want to go past there and see if they find anything?
I
Yeah.
am curious, to say the very least.
All
Yeah,
right.
if they set up camp, they sure as hell found something.
Perhaps we should approach carefully and first have a look, as in, this man might have saved us, but I don't know what exactly is going on here, and due to the situation, how we arrived, as in how we got into that box, I don't remember anything before that, and I'm not liking that.
And I'm
Not
pretty
one-
sure he was too kind. He showed us kindness that people do not show easily. Well, at least I'm not used to it.
Something tells me that I wouldn't have, even though it should be something that I should do, perhaps, I don't know. This is all way too confusing. I want to know what's going on in that dig site.
Okay.
Alright.
So you guys go ahead and go by where you were dug up.
Yeah.
As you make your way there, you don't see anyone at the site. However, you can see that the site has been clearly marked off. They've put pittons into the ground attached to a large piece of cloth that is acting as a tarp to go over the hole that they have dug. The box is outside of the hole and by the side. And you can see that the portion that you broke through, presumably the front of the box, has been wrapped up very tightly in several cloths and placed neatly just next to the box. Would you like to investigate further?
Yes, I want to.
Okay.
I will
Yeah.
inspect the coffin-ish, the box.
It's too big to be a coffin. It's just it's more like it looks more like a dresser. That was just used to transport 3 people.
I'll also say, I'm guessing we're outside of the camp parameters, so to speak.
They're making camp next to the town,
Or can
and
we
you're an hour out at this point where you were dug up.
Okay. So, but they brought the box back to town in that case.
No. You were back at the dig site at this point.
And could we pass through like without too much issue? Would it be weird if we passed through there again?
No one
Or are
sees
we-
us.
No one sees you. There's no one out there at all. They've simply,
There's no one out here?
they've covered the hole.
Oh.
They've wrapped up the door of the box that you were in, and they've set everything aside to make it. It looks now like someone's like marked this territory out as this is my claim. If you mess with this, I have the right to call authorities on you and get the things that you steal back.
Yeah, if they put that box and wrapped it neatly, that's already rather suspicious.
Yeah.
So no, don't. Let's have a look.
And is at this moment that the sun finally falls beneath the horizon. I'd like all you to roll me a d10. This will be your starting blood.
Oh
Right.
gosh.
Do we just go on a D10 regular one?
Yeah,
On the
just
left-hand
roll
side?
/R space 1d10. Okay.
Cecilia,
Cecilia, wow!
Damn
You start with 10 blood. Oh man. Ajala.
I'm hungry-ish.
Veers
Hungry while the
deep.
sun is fading.
Oh no, Ajala and Serafino, the two of you, as you approach the dig site, are overcome by an intense hunger. One that you have not felt ever before.
Oh,
It feels like you are so hungry you could rip apart a horse right now and eat every inch of it. Cecilia, you're feeling a bit nippish, but you're okay.
Yeah, I just ate.
Yeah.
But apparently...
For some reason, I'm imagining this scene like just walking up to that site, just sort of expecting to go exploring,
Mhm.
and then the moment the sun really sets, like this dooming tolling of a bell, the stomach sort of just clenches.
You've got the full
Like-
stomach pains. It's everything.
Yeah, and
yeah.
actually boggling at the knees, like this is not normal.
So, Cecilia, your difficulty at this point has reduced down to the normal difficulty. All your rolls, unless they are increased in difficulty via some other factor, have now gone down to difficulty 6. The two of you, however, seeing as you only have 2 blood in your system, are remaining at difficulty 8.
And did you fall physically to the ground?
I would like both of you to actually, let's see if they do. Make me willpower rolls.
Willpower rolls, so what?
There's actually a button within the dice that is that says willpower.
Temporary willpower, permanent willpower.
Roll me the. This will be your temporary willpower.
Oh, but we have to set it to 8, right?
No,
we
it's
leave it-
just leave it as is.
Okay.
Okay. So the two of them do fall to their knees temporarily before picking themselves back up, as the hunger overcomes them.
What happened? What's happening? She
I don't
says.
know,
looks
I
around.
just feel really hungry.
But we just ate.
It's a different
This is
kind of
not
hunger.
right.
I never felt this before. Or at least I can't remember feeling this before.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you can eat some rations, I guess.
Alright, let's try and eat some rations.
Okay.
We've only just left. We need those for the coming days as well.
Maybe just a bite to satisfy
bite,
whatever hunger.
Yeah. So, Serafino, you pull out
Yes.
one of the rations. You unwrap it. You do not have eat food. So as you put the ration within your mouth and bite off a small piece, you chew. It tastes weird. You've had rations before in the past. You remember having rations before. This tastes off somehow. But you power through it and you go ahead and swallow. Go ahead and make me dexterity alertness.
Dexterity. Oh, where is it? It's main dice. Difficulty 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You don't have time to slow what happens. You simply hurl. In the
Okay.
darkness, the three of you see as a black viscous liquid pours forth from Serafino's mouth and lands on the ground with a mostly chewed piece of ration. Serafino, you can taste blood. Your own blood.
does it
And
taste?
I need you to make me another willpower check.
Alright.
Before he does that, is his willpower marked correctly? Because both his and mine are registered as a 0.
You need to mark how much your willpower is in your thing. Don't just put the dots. I think you might also have to put the X's in the boxes below.
Okay, so the X's. And the blood pool works the same, right? So we're at 2, so we have 2 X's, is that correct?
Yes. I believe so.
And
Go
I
ahead.
think normally you roll your permanent willpower.
Okay, permanent willpower then.
And if you roll the permanent,
Willpower is courage, correct?
No, it's not the same.
that's
Willpower
right.
is courage unless you put any additional points into it. So if you go to your character sheet, in the dice area, there is a perm willpower thing. You roll that.
Okay.
Here's the difference. Once you start losing willpower, then you use your temporary one, because I noticed that it started filling in.
Okay, I got you.
Now that I've marked them, it filled in the temporary willpower.
There we go.
well, these 2 buttons, one for temp and for permanent, I thought they actually all, because a lot of effects in the game you always use your permanent, and some effect wants you to use your temporary.
Gotcha. Fantastic. You learn something every day. 3 successes. Okay, Serafino, the blood tastes absolutely divine. It smells divine. And you feel as if you want to get on all fours and lick the blood off the ground. But you stop yourself. You overcome the sensation. You begin to calm down.
What are you doing?
I don't know, this just feels right.
What
Feels
is
that
that?
Blood. It's just delicious. Would you like to try some?
No. That doesn't... She takes a step back, and then she holds her rosary a bit. I...
It's okay. I don't blame you.
I'm imagining at this point, since my blood pool is at 2 as well, that means that the hunger is actually gnawing, right?
Mm-hmm.
As in painfully so. That blood, does that smell trigger anything?
You'd have to get a little bit
against the
closer to smell it.
Or
But,
if I don't smell it yet, then I'm probably disgusted by this. And
Yeah.
like, that is not right. That
Mhm.
shouldn't be feeling right. And I'll be probably grabbing onto the hatches after he says that. As in, what sort of devilry is this?
Okay, I'll drop it and stay hungry. But still, I have that feeling in the back of my head that it was still right what I did.
do you
And I
want to
should've
go ahead
done
and drop the non-eaten portion of the ration?
Yeah.
Okay. So he drops the non-eaten portion of the ration as it clatters to the sand.
I'm gonna take a
Are
step
those
back.
rations poisoned? What did they do to it?
I don't know. It just didn't feel like I needed the ration. It felt like I needed the blood.
It
Why did you
still
drop off?
feels like you need it.
And it still feels like I need blood.
To see
Yeah.
this lost for words, just stand there.
I feel like that blood would quench the hunger that I'm feeling right now.
I think Ajala is also just staring at him, sort of expecting him to come at him, especially since the things he's saying.
Hmm.
So he's holding that hatchet, ready to respond, basically, and you can tell from his posture that he's getting ready to potentially defend himself.
May I suggest you try some rations too, Ajala?
I'm not sure if I should.
Just to see if it's just me.
I'll look at. Oh, sorry, I have to check the names again.
Cecilia.
Cecilia. I should be remembering this already, but I'll look back between Cecilia and Serafino, and more like questioning to
Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Yeah.
Well, there's clearly a growing mistrust to what's happening with Serafino right now.
Well, you also got hungry, she says when she knows you look at them. Maybe it's an idea, at least, just to prove that it's not something you also have. Or treating it as it's a disease.
Right. I'll sort of get down to one knee to get something out of the satchel, but he remains in this like
You're at the ready.
position here. Like he's expecting something to happen at this point.
Hmm.
And he's gonna take out a ration and just break a piece of it with his teeth and start chewing it
Okay.
before swallowing it down.
You start chewing it, and as it hits your tongue, it's once again you're someone who's had rations before. Something tastes like slightly off about it. It has like the faint, distant taste of what a ration should taste like what a dried bread rations should taste like.
While
but-
chewing, he's like,
Something's weird about it, and you're not sure what.
this just tastes stale.
And as you swallow, nothing. It does absolutely nothing for you.
Stale and empty. I don't know what empty.
Are you still hungry?
Yes.
Very
Like
much
just
so.
a single bite is in.
So,
What
as
you
I
expect?
expected, the ration did nothing for me, but the blood, now that felt right.
I'll roll my eyes like I ate one piece of the ration, so I'll start chewing on another one. As in,
Okay.
if you want me to prove this thing helps with the hunger, I'll need to eat more than just one bite, and I'll continue chewing.
Okay.
through
You
that.
continue eating through the ration until you get to a reasonable amount for someone to eat. And through the 2 or so minutes that it takes you to get through that correct portion of the ration where you were like, yeah, this is around when I should start feeling something, nothing. There's still that
nothing.
gnawing, aggravating, painful hunger.
Whatever is going on with us it must have something to do with why we were in here. And I'll point at the ground, but this is not working, this is not right. This, it's empty, it's not food.
Do I still have the piece of food with blood on it?
Yes.
Can I pick it up and show it to Ajala?
You can pick it up, and there's the decent coating of sand on it at this point. But
I'll be away from that. Like, no, the hell, what the fuck are you doing? That's
Well,
bloody and it's sandy.
as he begins to hand it toward you, you can see the sand grains mixed in with the viscous blood and the partially chewed food. And as you're pushing your hand to push the food away, there's a part of you that also wants to go towards it. Make me a permanent willpower roll.
Willpower roll incoming.
Cecilia got really lucky with that 10.
Yeah.
3 successes, including 2
3
tens.
successes. You're able to resist the will to take that food. but there's still like a part of your mind that like gnaws at the back of your skull that just says, take it. You want it.
Especially when that happens, he'll quite literally shrug it off in the sense that he'll put his hand aside with that in it, and he'll just pass right by Serafino and head straight towards the pit, basically, where they covered it up.
Okay.
He's like, this is just wrong.
So you head on over to the makeshift tarp covering that's been placed over the pit. You can see about 5 feet away from the tarp is the box with the covered over, wrapped up door that was at the front on the front of the box. Do you want to look under the tarp? Do you want to inspect the box? Which do you want to do?
At first glance, does the box look special, or is it carved? Is it just a normal box?
The box is ornately carved. You can immediately tell. It looks like if this was a dresser and not something that was holding 3 people, it'd be something that was of high craftsmanship. Either someone who was well on the road of apprenticeship and was extremely skilled made it, or a master at his craft, a master carpenter may have made this.
Okay, so that's 2 points of interest, but currently I'm more curious whether they dug up more, so I'm going to look under the tarp first.
You look under the tarp. There's a dark pit. Go ahead and let me see here.
I have pretty good vision.
Yeah, you do. Perception. We're gonna go with, for normal seeing, perception alertness as you look down into the hole. Excuse me.
Perception with alertness, which is... Oh, that is suggesting something. Oh.
Yep.
But where the hell is it at?
While he's doing that, Cecile is investigating the box.
Okay.
Quick question about the roll. Do I add a point for darkness, or...
For the low light vision, you mean? I don't believe it works like this in this system. I think that's V5. I think with the specialities in this system, it allows the tins to add on more successes.
Okay. So
Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't read
Okay,
exactly
yeah.
for Dark Ages, but that's how V20 normally works.
Well, V20 is probably the closest.
Or that you roll an extra die might be.
This is
also-
like a slightly altered version of the V20 version, so.
It's very likely that it leans very close.
Mm-hmm.
But the difficulty is still 8, despite it being
Because of your hunger, difficulty is still 8.
Alright. So alertness, difficulty 8, with perception. Here we go.
2. Wow.
Successes, 3 10s, 1 1.
Wow. Okay. So, you look in the hole, and you find, near the edge of the hole, heading in the direction of the town, there is an old, heavily worn out sandal. Other than that, there's also some, at this point, slightly molded pieces of cloth that you find in the hole that look like they belong to a priest's habit. Other than that, there is heavily covered in sand, and I'm only giving you this because you got 10 or 3 tins. There is also a buried small leather case.
I'm gonna drop in there and pick all of that up and drag it out.
Okay, you drag it out.
The bit.
You smell something divinely delicious with inside the leather case.
I'm gonna open it.
Okay. Inside you find several shattered glass vials and what looks like dried blood.
I'm gonna look at those. I'm gonna look at those clothes and the sandals as well. Does it look like it's from any particular order? Probably nothing I recognize, but it might be something we might want to take with us.
There's too little cloth to make out the order. However, from the cloth it suggests that the habit was was black. And really, there's nothing you can get via the sandals. They're common sandals of a Italian style.
Sorry for typing, but I'm taking notes. And the vials, the leather casings just dried blood,
Inside, the leather casing is dried blood, yeah.
and it still smells like very strongly.
It smells very potent.
If the smell is so potent and I'm this hungry, perhaps when I'm still in the pit, in that case, while I'm throwing the rest of it out, I'll probably have more interest in that leather case and gonna quickly check if they can see me from here, the other guys.
Did you move the tarp back when you went into the pit?
Probably at least opened it up, like flapped it open so that
So I would say that they would be able to see you, assuming that you lit the torch, or not the torch, but the lantern.
I didn't lit anything.
Yeah, if no one lights the lantern to give better visual in the dark, then no.
I am, in that case, gonna smell it a bit closer and perhaps even give in a bit to that temptation.
Okay.
And actually
So
give it
I got the lanterns.
All right. So, you go ahead and you give in slightly. And do you look at the blood first, or you stick a finger in there and try and get some of it on your finger and then lick it? How do you do this?
I'm probably gonna try and scratch some off and try and taste it.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, of course.
As you do that, and the blood hits your mouth, it tastes fantastic, and it tastes better than anything you've ever had. You can't place exactly what it tastes like, though, because it doesn't taste like blood. And then it's gone. The sensation disappears.
Can I get more of that?
You can continue scratching away at it, and you can get a small little sliver of taste here or there, but it ends up being the same each time. It's like something beautifully fantastic to the taste, yet you can't place your thumb on what it is, and then it's gone each
He'll
time.
probably try three or four times total, and then he'll be like, yeah, this is not helping. And then he'll probably crawl out of the pit and be like, yeah, that's all I could find, and this, and he'll hold the leather thingy up, leather case.
The small leather case, yeah.
With the remaining glass, and it's blood stained as well, as in there's something about blood. I don't know what, but the smell of it, indeed, it shouldn't be interesting.
See, exactly like I told you then.
Oh, the face that Ajala is making right now is really like a hateful, because he knows you're right and he hates it.
Wow.
As he, I'm thinking you would do
As-
something else in the same time.
Well,
Yes.
before we get to that, unfortunately, I'm going to need you to remember that, because unfortunately, we have reached our time.
Okay.
So, as he comes out of the pit, wielding these objects, handing them, or giving them as if for all of you to inspect, that is where we are going to call our first session to close. Thank you all so much for being here. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you, but unfortunately we have to go, because Azzy's gotta make it to a D&D game pretty soon here. So thank you all so much for coming. I have been Forgotten Dreams. To my left has been Dorian, below him Azraphile, and then below me Jay. and they have been going through as my special little victims today. We will see you guys next Friday for the continuation of this series. Bye!
Bye.
Bye,
See
everyone.
you then.